Sometimes I be right in your face and hit like Genjutsu in place. That's how it be though. Nothing but great effort just to get a C though. Eyes watching but we never seem to be though. So it's been a bit since we've seen Zoro in One Piece. Obviously, we've been knee-deep in the Whole Cake Island arc, and we've been non-stop just talking about what's going on in Whole Cake right now, what Zoro doing, and all of that jazz. Obviously, that's been a central point of the story. I want to talk about Zoro right now, because it's been a bit. We haven't seen him. He's been, on his own quest right now, and all of that jazz with Wano in the back of his mind, and cool stuff of where Zoro's going. But I wanted to talk in this video in particular about Zoro's max power currently in One Piece and where he's at right now, because a lot of people speculate Zoro's power where he's at right now. Maybe he's at Luffy. Some people say he's bigger than Luffy, he's stronger than Luffy. I will always say 110% that no matter what, at any given point in the series, I don't think that Zoro is ever stronger than Luffy. And I think no matter where I scale Zoro, unless proven otherwise, I'm always going to put, even if it's slightly below Luffy, Zoro right around there. At the end of the day, there's a reason why Luffy's the captain. I think if Zoro's seen like, I could take that dude easy, bro, he'd be easy, he probably wouldn't have followed Luffy. I mean, in the beginning of the journey, he was just kind of bewildered. The stretchy, rubbery guy was going on here. But of course, he had his own will and quest in the back of his mind with Mihawk and becoming the #1 swordsman and Kuina and all of that cool stuff. But, Zoro's power where he's at right now, I would definitely say, again, he's not as strong as Luffy. So you got to think, okay, where is Luffy at? And where I'm throwing him as well is he's stronger than Sanji. I gotta end that debate right there, and I love talking about it, but it's funny, people get really mad over the Zoro versus Sanji fights. I'm just saying, but in terms of comparing Zoro to Sanji, bros, I'm not even gonna question it. He will body Sanji. You gotta think for a second, the trainings that they had. They both had training from very incredible people. You had Mihawk training Zoro. Shichibukai, bro. Like, that's pretty good training. #1 swordsman, you know what I'm saying? That's great training. But then on the flip side, Sanji was trained by Ivankov, and he had some very crazy training or whatever. And Ivankov, big deal. Revolutionary Pirates, big deal with Ivankov as well, training him. So they both had great training, but just in terms of the abilities displayed thus far, you got to think for a second. Zoro almost put an end to Fishman Island before it even really began. He almost took out Horty. If it wasn't for, his muscle pills, Zoro would have already ended it. And, granted, you could argue, like, okay, we've seen Sanji's displays of his power and what potentially is his max, or I would say we haven't seen exactly Sanji's max yet, but we've seen him in a decent fight. We saw him against Judge and his family, and if it wasn't for him being jumped, he probably could have taken him out as well. But the fact that he wasn't able to take out Judge, and where I see Judge, crying and all that shit, he's a credible fighter, and again, he did cheat against Sanji, but I personally think that Zoro would have bodied Judge one-on-one. Like, the capabilities, again, Zoro, his haki, I think he's just all around a bit above Sanji, because you got to think for a second too. Don't get me wrong, Sanji's dream, I respect it. There's nobody that respects Sanji and the One Piece characters, the main cast is dreams, more than this guy right here. This fucking two-toned haired fuck that you're watching really respects the goals of the One Piece characters and where they're trying to go with it. But, you know what I'm saying? Zoro's training his body, his mind, his soul every day. Sanji, he's focusing in on, I gotta make these recipes and stuff like that. Sanji ain't no weakling, and he got his training in during the time skip. But again, Zoro's just displayed feats that is like, his abilities and what he does, the opponents that he fights, he always takes on the #2 guy. If you think about it, if this was right now Zoro and them instead of Sanji, we swapped them out right now, Zoro will be going after either the second in command or somewhere closer to the fight against Pika. He single-handedly took out this guy that had such an annoying and broken ability, and he didn't really even stress. Like, it wasn't like it was a big deal to him. Again, that makes me think Zoro, again, way above Sanji, but below Luffy, and that also puts Luffy, obviously, way above Sanji. Now, where is Luffy at? Because, again, we've seen him in Whole Cake Island fighting against Big Mom. He couldn't do nothing towards her, but after careful process and, a very, very bad fight, not bad, great fight, but, him getting his ass kicked throughout it, he was able to beat one of the top dogs in the Big Mom Pirates, which was Katakuri. Could Zoro have taken out Katakuri is a question you gotta ask yourself. Personally, I think if Zoro would have underwent the same deal or ordeal that Luffy went and trying to strategize, because you gotta think, I think in terms of combat, Zoro is better at strategy than Luffy. Yeah, Zoro gets a little lost and confused or whatever, but when it comes to throwing down, Zoro would have,
yo, like Katakuri would have been sliced and diced in my opinion, but it would have had to have been, again, if Zoro was able to do the same thing, because you got to think, Luffy using his Gear 4th, does Zoro have that power? Well, there's a lot of factors that go into that as well to question it. For starters, the eye. People say that, there's an eye under there, and until we get further, examination, you gotta kind of think for a second. They don't even address things like that. Like, has anybody really ever said, yo, Zoro, what's going on, bro? Can you, with his eye, it's kind of just been left alone, like, some shit happened. I want to say he did reference, like, yeah, I got into some shit or something like that regarding his eye, but if he does have an eye, then there could possibly be something where it's like, the hockey eye of being able to maneuver quickly or something like that. So Zoro, we haven't seen his max. We've seen Luffy's max, and we've seen Zoro without breaking a sweat taking out Pika. So you got to think, well, could Luffy have taken out Pika without breaking a sweat? Because let's just say Luffy is able to take out this one person, or Zoro's able to take out this one person, doesn't mean vice versa they can do it. Luffy and Zoro are two totally different fighters. Luffy uses his fists and Gatling and all that. Zoro obviously uses the swords or whatever, so it doesn't necessarily mean that, equal in strength. It's just strength, in my opinion, is you add everything. Their ability to dodge, their speed, of course, their actual, muscle and strength or whatever. Well, not muscle, because muscles mean shit in anime, but you get what I'm saying. And honestly, I think that Zoro right now, where he's at, is he's probably just at or below where Luffy was in the fight against Katakuri. And I think that that's probably, like, not necessarily Vice Admiral. I think he'd probably body a Vice Admiral. Like, I think Smoker versus Zoro would be interesting. Zoro knowing hockey now a little bit, I think he'd probably be able to get him. Does he know the color of the ornaments? I'm not sure if Zoro knows the color of the ornaments, but if he does, then automatically be able to body him. But again, Luffy and Zoro, Luffy's way above him. Luffy was easily mastering more of the hockey. Zoro and Sanji, both of them just barely learned hockey in the beginning of the time skip. I think it's evolved just as in part 1 of One Piece, how, Luffy and them got stronger and stronger. Zoro is stronger than he was in the beginning of the series, and probably his hockey's better, especially if he's going into Wano. And you got to think, Wano Kingdom is a land of swordsmen. Zoro's going to have to bring his A game, and I think if it's Zoro versus Jack, I think Zoro could take Jack one-on-one. I don't know, what I'm saying, where that puts him at, but again, that's pretty big. Jack is up there, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see. Overall, kind of curious where you guys rank Zoro in terms of strength. Again, I say if we're putting the big three, Luffy definitely number 1. Zoro is a bit behind. Again, it would have been interesting to see Zoro versus Katakuri, even though we never get Zoro versus the main bad guy. And when he does, though, technically, you know what I'm saying? Look at Hody Jones, bro. Hody Jones had to get into a drug addiction just to try and take out the One Piece crew. You know what I'm saying? So, big deal there. And, Sanji, bro, I love you, Sanji. I relate to you, Sanji. You my guy, Sanji. But Zoro will body him. So, Smoker, and again, it's hard to really say. You can't really say all Vice Admirals are the same, because I think Smoker will body a good chunk of them. But then there's ones like, what is it, Momonga? Is he Vice Admiral as well? And I don't know if Smoker can handle that. So again, your overall thoughts. Where does Zoro rank in terms of power right now? What is his max capabilities? Do you think that he's stronger? Again, a lot of people always love to argue he's stronger than Luffy. I say absolutely not. I'd say Zoro, again, he might be where Luffy was prior to the Katakuri fight, and even slightly weaker than that, which says a lot, because that means that the number 1 because Katakuri, if I'm not mistaken, he's number 1 in Big Mom's army. If Zoro can't take that out, you know what I'm saying, then where does that leave him? He definitely needs to have a big boost, and I think by the end of Wano, Zoro is once again going to be barely under Luffy. It's always been like this. It's like, they like this, Luffy goes here, Zoro goes here. Luffy goes here, even with the bounties, and I think it's always going to be the same case. So, Zoro, badass. I can't wait for his return to One Piece. I'm counting down the days. Oda, please, let's wrap up Whole Cake so we can get back to the greatest swordsman and one day number 1 swordsman in the world, RORONOA Zoro. One time for the man. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. And if anybody comes up in here saying Zoro would have one-shotted Big Mom, stop it. You're playing yourself. Zoro ain't ready for that neither. Don't get it twisted. He's stronger than Sanji. He ain't that strong. You know what I'm saying? He's not stronger than Luffy, but he's a strong guy. Have an awesome day.
Make a major move, laugh and let the haters lose. We don't give a fuck, virginity intact, clean stack. Paper rules, if you heard it, best believe that. But now it's whatever, one day I'll be your favorite, but never. No matter how you